Good morning and welcome once again to Ed's Orchids. Now I've just received a request from Incy about how I'm getting on with the Dendrochilum glumaceums. Well, if you remember, it's probably just over 12 months ago that I got a plant that was dropping into pieces, and I repotted them all, the small little divisions, and I got about 20 of them, and here are just some of them. But I was going to take them out of here and repot them because they need doing now, and I was going to repot them into sphagnum moss just to see how they do, because they're doing pretty slow at growing now, these, although they have come on well since I made the big plant into a lot of divisions. But Ency wants to know, how do you know where the new growth's coming from? Well, let me have a look at this little one here. This isn't a very good example, but you can just see a new leaf coming up at the bottom. So what generally happens, here we'll look at this one, this is a bit bigger. The new growth starts coming up from the side of the back bulbs, as you can see there. It just comes up from the side of the other bulb, and these are all new growths here. And they seem to flower. Once they get to a certain size, every new growth will flower. You can see that one's just dying off, and it only started growing sort of 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that. So that's all I can say about these glumaceums. They're pretty slow growing, and you know, well, as I said, they need repotting now, because they've been in this so long and it's probably deteriorating, which is slowing the growth down. So what I'm going to do, as I said, I'll get on with repotting these. Well, I'll just repot a couple of these. Get the labels out. Got 2 labels in that one and none in that one. Oh, that's funny. Anyhow, we've got one for it now. So we'll take these out of the pots and have a look what the roots are doing now. I think I just watered these yesterday. That's why there's water dripping out of them. Let's see if there's any roots in them. Yep. Yeah, you can see the roots there all coming out nicely, all new growths, doing very well, but far too wet. So I'll take all this off, but first I'll take this one out of its spot to see how that's doing. Oh, there is a label in that one, so I've got an extra label now. Yep, that's doing fine. As you can see, that's got plenty of new growths on it. So I'll just clean them up, I'll take all the old stuff off, and then we'll repot it. This is in some very, very old sphagnum moss and a little bit of bark with a few sponge rock in it. So I'll clean all this up and I'll come back to you, because it looks like it might be a pretty long job, and you don't want to watch me doing this all the time. I'll just show you when it's all cleaned up, then we can have a look at the new growth and etc. Right, so I've cleaned them both up now, and they've all got nice roots on them, and with this plant here, another piece dropped off there, so that's another little plant I've got. And on this piece here, I think it was this dropped off at the end. Yep, that's dropped off at the end, and that's got some nice roots on, so that'll make another nice little plant. So instead of me sort of growing these up and getting rid of them, I seem to be getting more and more plants together. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them, send them to the auction or something like that. So what I'll do with these now is I'll get them all potted up in some new sphagnum. And we'll see how they go on from there, see if it brings them on anymore. I've removed all the sheaths on them. Here you can see a bit of a sheath here. And that's where the flowers come from. When the new growth comes up, they always put another sheath up there at the side, and the flower stalk comes out of there, and away they go. And they do that when they're all pretty young. So we'll get these potted up now, and we'll have a look at them just to see what they look like. Well, I've got some sphagnum being soaked in this RO water. There's nothing else in it, and I'm not going to put anything else in it. And I'll just take some out, squeeze it, and start repotting those Dendrochilums. Right, we'll get some of this, and we'll squeeze all the excess water out. Get as much out as we can. And then what we'll do, we'll spread it all out into nice little pieces. Let's get as much water out because we don't want it too wet. Yeah, I think I'll need a bit more than this as well. I'll need a little bit more. But just for the video, this will do very nicely. Right, we'll get rid of the bucket and we'll spread all this out. There's some quite long fibres in here, but it's not the long fibre, very expensive variety. Expensive enough, but not the 5-star grade, the one that they advertise. I think this will do quite well. Surprising how much you get in here with just a handful. But when you use it for potting, make sure that you don't compact it too much. There are little bits of twigs in and all sorts of stuff, but that doesn't matter. Right, I'm just going to put a handful of sponge rock in there to make sure that that the sphagnum doesn't compact too much. It'll keep it a little bit open, and that's all I'm going to use because I don't think these Dendrochilums need that much. We'll put a handful of sphagnum there, not sphagnum, sponge rock. Get it all mixed together. With it being damp, it will stick to the sphagnum. Right, and then we'll pot one up. Well, these are only 3-inch pots that I'm using, very cheap from the supermarkets, and they don't need huge pots. They like to be a little bit cramped in there, and that fits very, very nicely and allows for it for a lot of growth. So we'll just get some of this. We'll try and fill most of the spaces we can with it without squeezing. Just wrap it round nicely. The roots will find their own way. Right, make sure we get some sponge rock in there. And then we'll just gently put it in there. Without compacting it at all. There's a nice long fibre. You've got to press it down to a certain extent, but as I said before, don't press it too deep. Quite easy to do, not very delicate, but don't be heavy-handed with it. Right, that's one, so we'll put the label back in because I've got an extra label. So that's the Dendrochilum glumaceum. That's what we do, and that's all I'm doing with them. And I've got, what, maybe 20 to do? So we'll keep an eye on them and I'll come back to them. So I've got all these plotted up now, and from 2 plants now I've just got 4. So I'm going to have a lot before I've finished, aren't I? But these will do okay now, I'm sure, now in the sphagnum, because when I took the larger one out of the original pot, there was some wet, very wet sphagnum in it, and there were some beautiful roots growing through it. So it's a sign that these don't like being dry at all. So keep them nice and moist if possible. That's Dendrochilum glumaceum. Well, I'm off to Sheila's in another hour, so I'll take the camera with me and see what she's got growing new there. There'll be no new plants, but I'm sure she'll have plenty of spikes on things, so we'll have a look at them. Well, I'm sorry to say that I forgot to take the camera to Sheila's, so I'd better end this video here. And the only thing we've got now, we've got one of these flowers opening on the Campbell's Glacier. I have never ever flowered these before, but the flower looks like it's going to be pretty big. And there's 7 of them. So this could be really nice. If I can get to have a look inside. No, not yet. It's a bit spotty inside, but I don't exactly know how that will look. But that'll do for another video next time. So I'm sorry for that. So thanks very much for watching this Dendrochilum glumaceum video. And until next time, thanks to all my subscribers, and I'll see you later. Bye.